Biography of Sheikh Al-Islam Ibn Taymiyyah. Was he suffering from the ruling political system? His qualities and morals since the emergence of the Islamic message and its spread in the world. Part 4. We continue to narrate a stage in the life of Sheikh Al-Islam Ibn Taymiyyah. In 1305, Ibn Taymiyyah took part in a second military offensive against the Alawites and the Isma-ili in the Kasrawan region of the Lebanese mountains, where they were defeated. The majority of the Alawis and Ismailis eventually converted to Twelver Shi'ism and settled in South Lebanon and the Bekaa Valley, with a few Shia pockets that survived in the Lebanese mountains. The first invasion took place between December 1299 and April 1300 due to the military campaign by the Mamluks against the Armenian kingdom of Cilicia, who were allied with the Mongols. Due to the Mongol legal system that neglected Sharia and implemented Yasa, Ibn Taymiyyah had declared takfir upon the Ilkhanid regime and its armies for ruling by man-made laws, despite these laws being rarely enforced in Muslim-majority regions in an extensive manner. Openly rejecting Ghazan Khan's claim to Padishah al-Islam, King of Islam, a title which Ghazan took to legitimize his military campaigns, Ibn Taymiyyah denounced him as an infidel king and issued numerous fatwas condemning the political order of the Tatars. The Ilkhanate army managed to defeat the Mamluk Sultanate in the Third Battle of Homs and reached Damascus by the end of December 1299. Fearful of Mongol atrocities, many scholars, intellectuals and officers began to flee Damascus in panic. Ibn Taymiyyah was one of those clerics who stood firm alongside the vulnerable Damascus citizens and called for an uncompromising and heroic resistance to the Tatar invaders. Ibn Taymiyyah drew parallels of their crisis with the Ridda Wars, apostate wars, fought by the first Muslim caliph, Abu Bakr, against the renegade Arabian tribes that abandoned Sharia. Ibn Taymiyyah severely rebuked those Muslims escaping in the face of Mongol onslaught and compared their state to the withdrawal of Muslims in the Battle of Uhud. In a passionate letter to the commander of the Damascene citadel, Ibn Taymiyyah appealed, "Until there stands even a single rock, do everything in your power to not surrender the castle. There is great benefit for the people of Syria. Allah declared it a sanctuary for the people of Sham, where it will remain a land of faith and sunnah until the descent of the Prophet Jesus." Despite political pressure, Ibn Taymiyyah's directives were heeded by the Mamluk officer and Mongol negotiations to surrender the citadel stalled. Shortly after, Ibn Taymiyyah and a number of his acolytes and pupils took part in a counter-offensive targeting various Shia tribes allied to the Mongols in the peripheral regions of the city, thereby repelling the Mongol attack. Ibn Taymiyyah went with a delegation of Islamic scholars to talk to Ghazan Khan, who was the Khan of the Mongol Ilkhanate of Iran, to plead clemency. By early January 1300, the Mongol allies, the Armenians and Georgians, had caused widespread damage to Damascus and they had taken Syrian prisoners. The Mongols effectively occupied Damascus for the first 4 months of 1303. Most of the military had fled the city, including most of the civilians. Ibn Taymiyyah, however, stayed and was one of the leaders of the resistance inside Damascus, and he went to speak directly to the Ilkhan, Mahmud Ghazan, and his vizier Rashid al-Din Tabib. He sought the release of Muslim and Dhimmi prisoners which the Mongols had taken in Syria, and after negotiation, secured their release. The second invasion lasted between October 1300 and January 1301. Ibn Taymiyyah at this time began giving sermons on jihad at the Umayyad Mosque. As the civilians began to flee in panic, Ibn Taymiyyah pronounced fatwas declaring the religious duty upon Muslims to fight the Mongol armies to death, inflict a massive defeat and expel them from Syria in its entirety. Ibn Taymiyyah also spoke to and encouraged the governor of Damascus, al-Afram, to achieve victory over the Mongols. He became involved with al-Afram once more when he was sent to get reinforcements from Cairo. Narrating Ibn Taymiyyah's fierce stance on fighting the Mongols, Ibn Kathir reports, "Even if you see me on their side with a Quran on my side, kill them immediately." Ibn Taymiyyah, in Ismail ibn Kathir, Al-Bidayah wa al-Nihaya, Volume 14, 7-8, Third Invasion and Takfir of Ilkhanate Allies, see also, Excommunication in Islam, Takfirism, and Battle of Marj al-Safar, 1303. The year 1303 saw the third Mongol invasion of Syria by Ghazan Khan. What has been called Ibn Taymiyyah's most famous fatwa was his third fatwa issued against the Mongols in the Mamluks' war. Ibn Taymiyyah declared that jihad against the Mongol attack on the Mamluk Sultanate was not only permissible, but obligatory. The reason being that the Mongols could not, in his opinion, be true Muslims despite the fact that they had converted to Sunni Islam because they ruled using what he considered man-made laws, their traditional Yasa code, rather than Islamic law or Sharia, whilst believing that the Yasa code was better than the Sharia law. Because of this, he reasoned they were living in a state of Jahiliyyah, or pre-Islamic pagan ignorance. Not only were Ilkhanate political elites and its military disbelievers in the eyes of Ibn Taymiyyah, but anybody who joined their ranks were as guilty of ridda, apostasy, as them. Whoever joins them, meaning the Tatars, among commanders of the military and non-commanders, their ruling is the same as theirs, and they have apostatized from the laws, Sharia. If the righteous forebears, Salaf, have called the withholders from charity apostates despite their fasting, praying, and not fighting the Muslims, how about those who became murderers of the Muslims with the enemies of Allah and His Messenger? Ibn Taymiyyah, in Majmu' al-Fatawa, Volume 28, 530, the fatwa broke new Islamic legal ground because no jurist had ever before issued a general authorization for the use of lethal force against Muslims in battle, and would later influence modern-day jihadists in their use of violence against other Muslims whom they deemed as apostates. In his legal verdicts issued to inform the populace, Ibn Taymiyyah classified the Tatars and their advocates into four types: Kafir Asli, i.e., those original non-Muslims fighting in Tatar armies and who never embraced Islam, Muslims of other ethnicities who became apostates due to their alliance with Mongols, irreligious Muslims aligned with Ilkhanites whom Ibn Taymiyyah analogized with renegade Arabian tribes of the Ridda Wars. Personally pious Muslims affiliated with the Mongol armies. Ibn Taymiyyah harshly rebuked these people as the most evil faction, and argued that their piety was useless because of their decision to ally with non-Muslims who ruled by man-made laws. This rationale was also expanded to excommunicate those court scholars who vindicated the Tatar authorities. Ibn Taymiyyah called on the Muslims to jihad once again and personally participated in the Battle of Marj al-Safar against the Ilkhanid army, leading his disciples in the field with a sword. The battle began on April 20th of that year. On the same day, Ibn Taymiyyah declared a fatwa which exempted Mamluk soldiers from fasting during Ramadan so that they could preserve their strength. I stop at this point today. Until next time, stay curious, stay informed, and keep exploring the world's incredible stories. Soon we will publish Part 5. Thank you for watching.